in place. There's so much going on as we get ready to prepare for school. Our children will be virtual, some of them, maybe an AB schedule. It's just a lot going on in Atlanta.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the times. And so we're trying to figure out what our new normal is. So thank you for joining us as we're here and splitting the screen and doing all kinds of stuff. But for the new listeners, let me just give you a little background about what Real Chicks Rock is all about. It's all about creatively collaborating and connecting to raise awareness regarding issues that impact us as women. And we do it through so many different platforms, through community service, through mentoring and public speaking, and through this platform, the arts, which I like. Because now I can bring people in and we can talk about the things and raise awareness and come up with solutions and all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay, enough of that. Today, my topic is about women with vision. Yeah, I'm looking at you and the one on the screen too. Women with vision. And so, like I said at the beginning, there's so many things that are going on, but yet there's this emergence of women that want to be entrepreneurs, that want to give back, that want to be community oriented, that want to be good moms, good wives. They have careers, and it's just so much going on. And I just want to continue to encourage the masses that are doing it, because we are spearheading entrepreneurism at its highest, right? There's so many of us that are running nonprofits, running our businesses, and I think today I want to peel back the onion and just talk about how we do it all.
Yeah.
How we do it all, and some elements and some ingredients that we need to keep us going.
Yeah.
Fair enough?
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Without further ado, let me introduce my guests. I love them to pieces. All right. The one on the Zoom screen. Hi, Idalia.
Hi.
Say hi. I can't hear you. Say hi. Oh, Jack can't hear her. Uh-oh.
How about
There you go.
I heard you for a second. What happened? There
how about
we go.
that?
Perfect. Hi, Idalia.
There we are.
Hi. How are you?
I'm amazing. How are you guys?
I'm good.
I miss you.
Yeah, I miss you
know.
too. I miss you too.
Both of you.
Yeah, yeah, you should be here. Idalia, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Idalia Blopleh. I am a woman and a mom and a philanthropist and all things sparkly. If I'm putting it in a nutshell. I love people. I love my sisters. I love being able to give back. As hokey as it sounds, it genuinely makes me feel good.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the reason I do it. I was raised with a spirit of, you better be supporting other people, because what are you going to do if something happens to us? Who can we reach back to?
Right.
So it's ingrained from a very, very early age that you support as many people as you can, because it's the right thing to do, and because it helps to grow your tribe and your community of people that you can love on, have them love on you. It's a very reciprocity is basically the key. You know, that if you want to be loved, you have to be able to give love out to the community. So that's pretty much who I am at the core. I love sparkles and glitter. I love all things pretty and girly and all that kind of fun stuff.
She's just a girl.
In a nutshell. I've got 2 children whom I love dearly. I call them my kidults because they're not babies anymore.
Talk
but
about it.
Right.
I don't think they're grown. They'd tell you they were, but
Right.
you know.
Right.
But yeah, that's pretty much who I am in a nutshell.
Okay. And to my left, this beautiful effervescent thing, Anana Parris. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm so good.
I love you to pieces and back, and you know why.
Oh, listen. First of all, I'm bubbling out of my skin because I'm out of the house.
Yes.
Like,
Yay! Because you don't come out much, only to the park.
No.
You don't do much. You're not going
Barely.
out.
Yeah, I have not been out much. And every time I go out, I see everyone else is like, girl, where you been? And I'm like, I've been in the house. But I have good reason.
Yeah.
My son has a condition that requires me to kind of be very military about it. So, yeah.
And he's doing well.
He's doing so well.
He's good.
doing so well.
He's good.
Yeah.
Your smile is so bright. Tell the people, the newbies that don't know you, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Oh, let's see. I like to take long walks in the park. I'm a Gemini. Shout out to Gemini.
Yes.
No, I think one of the reasons that we have such a strong connection is that we share a love for sisters,
Yes.
and just uplifting and supporting those who take on, and I would say not take on, but submit to their purpose.
Yes.
Because it's not an easy submission. You know, people think it is. They're like, oh, you wake up in the morning and you just want to give. And
no.
it doesn't happen like that. You know, sometimes the purpose looks at you and you look at the purpose and you go, listen, purpose. So I'll just start with that we all share like a love of supporting sisters who have chosen to submit to their purpose. And so that evolved into a nonprofit called SisterCARE Alliance that I founded. And so we promote self-care as a form of social justice, and social justice as a form of self-care. We believe speaking up for yourself on a micro or macro level keeps you from creating sickness in your body. And so we promote it in a lot of different ways. We teach strategic self-care programming to everyone from survivors of human trafficking to the everyday person that's just trying to make it through. We've established official self-care days in several cities as a way to politicize the notion of self-care. It's not just this surface activity. That for us, it is a political and revolutionary move. It is a way to change payroll systems, as we can see right now. Your self-care choices are shifting payrolls. And so for that, we believe that we should support those sisters through our network, above ground and underground, who are just vigilant about not only social justice, but also taking good care of themselves, because that's how you really foil the enemy's plan, is by taking excellent care of yourself, because they want you to ignore parts of yourself that really are in critical need of attention. So that's what we do. And I'm a mom.
Yes, you
I'm
are.
a fabulous 10-year-old. And I love the term you used, Idalia. You said
Kidults.
Kidults. Yes.
Yes.
And you know, I have not held back on the wisdom that I share with him, and he tries to give it back to me. And so so it's an interesting journey, parenthood.
It is. Mine is
But
13.
so I'm of a number of things. I'm also somebody that my other sisters have given grace to. Like my other sisters who say, oh, bless her heart, she has her purpose and she need a little support in this area. So I want to give a shout out to the network members of SisterCARE Alliance and the other sisters that bring me a bit of grace. I'm also their representative.
Because you're national.
We have a Charlotte chapter. We have representatives in Brooklyn and Florida.
You're growing.
Well, you know, we try to keep some of what we are really underground, because it's actually dangerous for Black women to announce their allegiances sometimes, to even announce that they're taking good care of themselves. They tend to get backlash. And so we like to keep a degree of anonymity for some of our members so that they can continue taking care of themselves and moving in a social justice world. But for those who are above ground,
I want to talk about the backlash in a minute, because that's important, because oftentimes we are fearful, right, of what we're doing. Then there's an embarrassment, there's a fear, and we don't speak up. And so this whole, I believe that women are evolving into a space to speak up for themselves and just do the work. I see women are doing the work, like internal, like dealing with issues, dealing with whatever it is that was making them bitter and not better. And I feel like you feel their energy. It's in a different space.
It is.
And they're very empowered. And so I want to talk about backlash, because we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. Idalia, why did you start what you started? Tell me a little bit about your nonprofit. What is it called? Tell the people.
Okay, so Dignify a Diva is the name of it, and it at the core we present women in need, women and girls in need, with gently loved purses filled with toiletries. It's a very, very basic need that a lot of times we tend to take for granted. You think about it. You have your purse or your overnight bag, and it has, you know, the things that you would go on a trip with. So let's say it's a toothbrush, it's your sanitary items, your shampoo, your conditioner, your deodorant, you know, all the stuff that you would throw into that bag. We don't really think much about that. But when you start breaking down those items and you start to price them, And I actually did this. I went to the store and priced all these items. You're looking at about $40 to $50 depending on what all you need to fill that bag. Okay, now take that and apply it to a woman that is possibly homeless or displaced, because homeless literally means you don't have a permanent residence.
Right.
So you might be couch hopping, you might be staying in an extended stay, you might be living in your car that's the only thing that you can afford to pay for your living arrangements. It could be a number of different situations. So keep in mind, there's still that $40 or $50. So you're trying to figure, and maybe let's add on that maybe you have a child, okay? And even if you don't, you are talking about, you might need gas, you may need to feed yourself and or that child or children. You might need to figure out, if you aren't living in your car, if you're going to have enough money in order to stay at that extended stay for an additional day, an additional week, an additional whatever. Now you're trying to factor in that $50 for those personal items that you need to maintain your own personal health, all of that, your personal hygiene. How are you going to do all of it? Because gas right now, for a full tank on just a regular size car, you're spending about $20 to $30. That just chunked into that $50 that you need for your personal items. Then you need to figure out if you're going to eat. Well, if you're eating fast food anywhere, if you're eating off the dollar menu, okay, not necessarily healthy, but there's another $3 to $5. If you're trying to eat a little bit more healthy, you're eating between 10 and 15. Okay, that $20 or $30 for gas has now turned into $35 to $45 of that $50 that you needed just to take care of your personal hygiene and your women's health. Now you're thinking about, okay, am I figuring out where I'm going to stay? If that extended stay is $50 or $60, see where that stops adding up?
Absolutely.
So now you've exhausted those funds, and then you start to pick away at the things that you don't necessarily need. Okay, well, maybe I won't use the toothpaste and the toothbrush, and hopefully no one will get really near me. Or maybe I won't get the sanitary items that I need, and I'll have to use tissue from the bathroom wherever I'm at.
Exactly.
Or, the shampoo and conditioner. Maybe I can go a week or two without washing my hair. Or, I got to figure out where I'm going to stay. Maybe I can stay with a friend. You see what I mean? So it turns into this constant trying to rob Peter to pay Paul to figure out your life. So the literal purse, not to mention, can I even afford a purse to put this stuff in? So when you start looking, if you start breaking it down in that way, then you understand the reason. The why is, it's not a new idea. So let's start with that. I've seen it done a number of different ways. This was really just my spin on a beautiful notion. Dignity is so important, and it's so hard to hold on to when you're already in a situation where you feel like, oh my God, I just don't even know what to do right now. When you're trying to figure out how to stay clean, when you're trying to figure out how to keep your hair together, when you're trying to figure out your monthly sanitary situation, all of those are things at the core that help to provide us with a bit of dignity as women. And if you are trying to figure those things out and don't have them, it starts to chip away at you a little bit. And we all want to be divas in one shape, form, or fashion. Diva is not a negative term. It's a term of beauty. It's a term of grace. It's a term of feeling empowered. And when you don't have that dignity, it equates to not feeling like a diva. So the whole idea was to give some of that dignity back, and to do it in a way that a woman can enjoy something beautiful that she may not have necessarily have been able to afford, and to still have all of the items that she needs, but it's in something that can present her with a bit of pride. I could hand you something, in a baggie with all of the items that you need, and it'll provide you with everything that you need to do. But how much more dignity am I giving you as a woman if I hand it to you in something where you can, be a bit more genteel, and I know what's in there, but it's in something pretty. So this is about dignity and prettiness, and just being able to be a girl for a second.
Awesome.
And that's the reason why I call it Dignify a Diva. Again, it stems to wanting to be able to help my sisters. Being a woman myself, raising my daughter, seeing my daughter's friends, seeing my own girlfriends, and, seeing the relationships between all of us and knowing what it feels like to enjoy dignity and enjoy being a diva, wanting my daughter to see that growing up and wanting her to be able to say, yeah, that's my mom. And then for my son to be able to say, I'm not dating or marrying anyone that doesn't behave like my mom.
Wow.
Wow. So there's a lot to this. The young women that it affects, they're going to be us one day. And what do we want to teach them? Do we want them to know that you are of royalty and you should behave as such and you should be treated as such? Or do we want these young women running around here thinking, wow, I just don't even really know who I am, or what I deserve or how I should be treated, and sometimes, again, it starts with something as simple as someone saying to you, look, sis, I got you. As a form, I'm going to use a term that I learned from someone that I love, as a form of self-care.
Come on now.
Talk about
Come on with the words.
Yes.
This is what this is. This is really what this boils down to. And a lot of us, to your point, Anana, we don't necessarily understand the full parameters of what self-care is and what it means and how it can be encompassed. So I have to say, even in doing this, I watch you very quietly. Very, very quietly sometimes, but I've learned so much about some of the ways that self-care can be.
Tell her, because I tell her all the time. Tell her.
No, I'm so serious about that, because you think self-care and you think grandiose ways to do it. I have to spend $1 million on myself, or I have to go do this. Self-care for you and the ways that I've seen you do it is as simple as, I love to dance. Watching you dance is like the dopest thing on the planet.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna say that. You know what I mean? But it's those types of things. So self-care, I need this purse, but I can't afford it. Okay, sis, guess what? I got a purse for you.
Oof.
I need these personal hygiene items, but I can't really afford it right now. Okay, sis, I got you. Self-care for me is being able to support these women, to be able to say that I can be a bridge for you. If it's something that simple, and it extends beyond the purses. You'll hear me say a lot, secure the bag. Secure the bag for me has a very different meaning than what it is in the streets these days. Secure the bag means make that money. For me, it's more inclusive. Yes, we want to make sure that we are financially healthy, but are you emotionally healthy? Are you physically healthy? Are you sparkly healthy? Because I think that's important too. Are you happy? Are all of your pinnacles being hit? That's what I mean by secure the bag. So it starts with that physical representation, with that purse, those toiletries. But what else can I do for you? Do we need to sit and talk about what you might be going through? Is there a program that I can connect you to so that you can get what you need? Are you displaced right now, and there is a program there that I can help you get? Secure the bag, Dignify a Diva is all inclusive, is as much as possible for women and girls that just need support. And the one thing that I am big on, there's absolutely no judgment whatsoever.
That's important. That's important.
That's important, because women are not going to talk about it if they feel like they're going to be judged. I know I won't. If I feel like I'm walking into an unsafe environment, I'm not going to say a word.
I know, that's right.
You'll never know it.
Anana, let me ask you, because we are Black women, for those that can't see us but maybe listening to us. So we are women of color, we're Black. Isn't it oftentimes, Anana, that this is like generational? Like, we've been carrying this thing about not understanding what self-care is for like generations, right? So this is like, I feel that people are using the term but not really understanding what it means, or maybe it's a clique, or what is self-care, or maybe, hey, Michelle, give them a break. Everybody's term of self-care is different. As long as we're doing something, right?
Yeah, it is. And I'll tell you, the reason that it seems so foreign or unique or clicked off to the side is because for Black women, generationally, we've been fed this idea that it's better to survive than to take care of yourself, right? Because there's no guarantee that self-care activities will help you and your family survive. So anytime the term comes up, we're thinking someone is telling us, no, you don't choose to survive, only choose yourself. only choose to focus on you and not other people and your household, and that's just not the case. That's a I call it emotional overseers. You know, those are people who walk around and they use this whip of shame and embarrassment when they're trying to control you. So they say something that could emotionally shift you one way or the other. And so you start talking about, so let me back up. The key to self-care based on my program is addressing a need, whether it's critical or a regular need, right? Being able to answer the question, what do you need? Spiritually, emotionally, economically, in terms of your time, money, and energy, artistically, physically, educationally, and socially. Those are the different categories that we address, right? And if you can wake up every morning and ask yourself the question, what do I need, or what do I critically need in each of those categories of care, and just be about the business of addressing it. You don't have to fix everything immediately, but just have this ongoing presence about how you address what you critically need. That is self-care. Right? Now, when you have someone that smells you choosing to address a critical need over taking care of something for them, or over making a priority something they think is a priority. When that happens, some people respond like emotional overseers. They walk around looking at people that they can control emotionally. They see you saying, man, I really need to talk to an accountant, and either they're a voice in your head or a real person that pulls out the whip and say, man, but your finances are a mess. Wow. You really want to talk to somebody about it? Or you may say, man, I really need a higher quality of sanitary napkins because I want to pay more attention to the health of what's going on down there. So I don't want to ask Idalia about, does she have other options, or I don't want to ask a question of someone, but I need to, hey, maybe I will. And then the emotional overseer says, you should be ashamed of yourself. You don't know the answer to that question already?
You should know that by now.
You don't know already? You've been a woman for how long and you still don't know? So I say all that to say, generationally, we are taught that to survive is everything. To survive is to be celebrated, and that takes away the sparkle. Right, Idalia?
It does.
Right?
It
You
does.
can't, how can you sparkle when you're trying to survive?
When you're trying to survive.
Right, how are you going to really indulge in a moment of just feeling like a queen and enjoying the skin, the color of the skin that you're in? You know, even just moisturizing your skin. How can you even enjoy that moment enough to just beam femininity, enough for someone to say, look at her, right? In a soft tone and a soft way. How can you at the exact same time be in straight survival mode? Who's going to eat? When are they going to eat? Am I going to have rent for the next month? Right? That sort of thing. So I just want to challenge anyone who hears the term. I want you to understand that terminology is just that, is terminology. What you need will not change.
I know that's right.
And that's how you identify a critical need versus anything else, right? I describe it like this, and then I'm going to stop because, I will go, okay? You think about a full bladder, and you're sitting at an event. I always use this analogy because it really clicks for people. And you're too embarrassed to kind of give yourself the church finger, and you hold it. I'm just going to hold it because I don't want to disrupt. I don't want to, right? So a critical need is something that is not going away. Is your bladder being full going away? Is it just going to disintegrate? No,
ma'am.
It gets worse. It gets worse over time.
Yes, it does.
It is going to get worse. And it ends up contaminating other areas of your life the longer you ignore it. That is what defines a critical need. And if you need it, and you begin addressing it, then you're taking care of yourself.
There you go.
And how dare somebody tell you how to qualify a need that you have? How dare they tell you, is it really a need for you? It's none of your business. I'm going to address what I critically need. I'm going to be strategic about it. And I'm going to help encourage any other sister that's confused about how to identify what she needs. That's what makes it revolutionary.
Now I'm going to ask you this, Anana, because you're so passionate about what you do. Do you find it difficult to separate your passion for others and then Anana time?
Well, that's such a good question. And what you have to actually do is still say, what do I need, and not just pick the parts that are easy for you to answer.
I got you.
Right? So I do have a purpose and a calling that comes from Mom B, my great-grandmother, my grandmother, Mom Gerd. It's on my paternal side. On my maternal side, I have ma and dad, as we call them. I have a lineage that this is nothing new what I'm doing, right? They've been helping people long before me and from the family I come from. So with that purpose comes a degree of honesty that you have to have the courage to exercise. And so part of my honesty is, it's like dessert helping people. Okay. If you ask me to spend,
same here.
Come on, Idalia. You know what I mean? Those who answer the call, isn't it? Those who answer the call, what you want me to help? You draft a strategic self-care plan. Yeah. Oh, you want to check in on a regular basis and lay out something to knock down those walls that have generationally made you feel imprisoned. Yeah, let's do it. No problem. It's like drinking a glass of water. I would be happy to. Right? But then if you ask me, Anana, how's your strategic self-care plan going? Which categories of care have you been closing one eye to? Who do you need to put yourself in front of that has more wisdom than you in this particular category of care? That's when you really are being strategic, because the more even I ignore those categories, the harder my life is to live. Yeah. So the answer to your question is, how do I do it? I have to find the courage to do it. Oh, wow. I have to find the courage and the discipline to some degree to continue working my own strategic self-care plan, keep having strategies that work for Anana. I'm visual. If I don't see it, it didn't happen. I have a part of one of my walls in my house that's painted in black chalkboard paint. Wow. And so,
nice.
Isn't that cool? Yeah. And so anytime I need it, I get up and I write something on the wall. So if I leave a counseling session and something was said that stuck with me, I have to put it on the wall. That's Anana's strategy. Yes. So again, to answer your question 3 million different ways. No. I have to employ my own strategic self-care plan, and I have to get really intimate with myself, and I have to find out, what does Anana need to actually stay engaged with taking good care of herself in areas that are hard for her. Yeah. And that is how I kind of work to balance it.
Idalia, for you, where do you find your support from? Who supports you? Who helps you?
You know what? A little bit of everybody. And you'd be amazed at how many people want to be involved and aren't quite sure how, where, who do they trust that's actually doing what they say they're doing. Right. So the support comes from a little bit of everywhere. My inner sister squads, they rally up to help out on a regular basis. I get support from strangers. Sometimes I'll get an inbox from someone I have never met on the planet ever saying, hey, I've been watching what you've been doing and I'd love to support. I had one young lady do exactly that. You know, she said, wow, I've been watching. I didn't even know that. Okay, let me take that back. I remember adding her to the page, but I didn't know her personally. And she said, I've just been kind of watching what you've been doing and I'd love to support. She came out to support multiple events just because she said, I love what you're doing. Yeah. The support comes from a little bit of everywhere. My kidults are involved. Yeah. So, you know, they help out quite a bit. My son, not extremely excited about packing purses. So instead he'll make breakfast for the house while my daughter and I are packing.
Nice, nice.
I have, yeah, so he gets involved there. I have friends that will come out to the storage unit and help me organize because, the storage unit.
Yeah, no, I've heard about that storage unit. You've told me that. So how do you balance everything out? Because you have a job too, right? Not to put your business. You have a full-time job. You've got kidults, right? Kid adults in the house. You work multiple jobs. I'm putting your business out. You do a couple of things. Yeah, she got a couple of jobs. She's getting a couple of W-2s. And then you're still committed. So how do you balance all of this out? How do you balance?
So in the spirit of being completely transparent, yes, I wasn't balancing it when I was working in the office.
That's when I want some dirt. This was too clean. Like, I need to know what's happening. How did you, so what was going on? Come on.
Okay, so let's be very clear. Okay, I was driving an hour to go to work from my home to the first job.
Talk about it.
Do the 9-to-5 gig there. Yeah. There were some avenues there for me to be able to do Dignify Diva. They're pretty supportive about, you know, outside ventures and whatnot in that way. Okay. So, you know, if I was doing something, I would, you know, grab a few people, hey, can you help me do X, Y, Z? Okay, so that was how I was working Dignify Diva into the 9-to-5 just a little bit. finish the 9 to 5 and then drive another hour to the second gig, which was a little bit less strenuous, but very helpful to a good friend of mine that used to work in the office. She started her own business, so I got a chance to kind of hang out with her. I would do a little bit more work on Dignify Diva there while I was at the second job, and then turn around and come home. So my day started at about 5:30 and normally didn't end till around 11-ish. At that point, it's then, okay, do what I need to do for Dignify Diva. So I might be up till 1 in the morning, you know, working out emails or putting together little spreadsheets or, you know, just brainstorming for things that I wanted to do. So to be honest with you, no, I really wasn't juggling it well. And honestly, I was kind of falling apart.
Okay.
So, you know,
so
it's
how'd you pull it together? Are you still falling apart, or what's
COVID happened.
Okay, so that put the brakes. Okay.
I mean,
wow.
If I'm being completely honest, I probably would have continued to have been doing what I was doing if this pandemic hadn't hit.
Right.
If I'm being completely transparent.
Yeah. We were all running off the rails there for a second.
Oh yeah, it was a lot. Now, mind you, I wasn't always working the second job, so there was a little bit more time when it was just the 9 to 5 to be able to do things, and it was nothing for me to run from here to Timbuktu and then to Botswana and back to Georgia in a day. And I have a very solid sister squad base, and they were constantly bopping me on the head if you don't sit down somewhere. I don't listen very well, so I will say that. So I was still doing way more than I should have been with as much support as was, you know, able to be given. But this pandemic has really given me some time to sit, because once I was forced to sit, because I'm working from home now.
Right.
So once I was forced to sit down, I really had to take inventory and stock of what I had allowed to kind of fall by the wayside, and the ways that I could find to make things more effective and not spend so much time at the 9 to 5 that they're getting my best years. Yeah, they're getting my best hours.
Yeah,
so I needed to find a way to regroup so that I could get in what I needed to get in to support the women that I want to support, as well as do what I need to do to keep the lights on at the house. But still support, you know, the women and girls that I need to. So I will say this, as horrible as this pandemic has been, because God bless those had been touched personally by it. It was the moment that I needed to just sit and deal with what I needed to deal with. So now I'm a little bit more strategic on the way. I still run way too much, but it's it's better than it was. I don't do self-care well for myself.
Okay.
I'm very good at self-care and creating environments for women to be okay and to, hey girl, you need a minute, come talk to me. You know, I'll take on your entire situation in a sparkle session. I am still learning to have those sparkle sessions with myself.
It's difficult.
It is very difficult.
It's extremely very difficult to self-care
because you find yourself avoiding your own issues by delving into everyone else. And helping them not necessarily fix, but being a part of. Do you need to just go out? Let's talk about it. You know, let me go and pack these purses and be out in the community and helping and listen to those stories and giving hugs. By the time you get back to your own sparkle situation, you're so tired, you just go straight to sleep.
That was part of the plan.
And then you haven't addressed anything, you just went to sleep. So I do that a lot. So I am still working on how to manage my own self-care effectively and be okay with the things that I feel I need for my own critical self-care, because sometimes I feel bad about being able to say, well, I want to just go get my nails done, or I really just want to get my hair done. And the reason that I don't justify it, because I say, well, I just went and took 50 purses to women that can't even afford to live in a spot. And you talking about going to get your nails done, Idalia, sit down somewhere. You know, so it's learning to be okay in, I want to get my nails done and I deserve to go get my nails done. So I'm still figuring it out.
And you know, I feel you, Idalia, and I, you are beyond not alone, right? There's so many sisters out there, and that's why one of the requirements of SisterCARE Alliance is that you actually have to practice the program to be a member, because the whole point of it is, even as a distant network member, there's so many members who they have their own orgs and they're doing, they have families, and they don't need new responsibilities, right? But one of the benefits is you're staying in contact and communication with people who are also serious about being strategic about taking care of themselves, so that they can still be even more available. And I do think you shortchange your purpose by not being strategic about your own self-care. I do think you limit it, and I think that, and not you personally, Idalia, but I think anybody that has accepted the call to their purpose, you are not showing up fully for that purpose if you don't have a strategy for addressing your critical needs. Because you can
go ahead and say me personally.
You will, because you will burn out.
Right.
No, I just spoke to several. I had a speaking engagement this week, and they were A-type, high-achieving individuals, and they were really wrestling with this idea of how is it that this notion of being sacrificial and they were servants in their field, and they were wondering, like, how do you balance it? How do you and I had to say, you have to speak to your purpose. You have to decide, how badly do I really want to submit to what my calling is? Because if you really, really want to submit to it, then you know that multi-processing, high-achieving, A-type personality that can handle so many things all at once, if it's operating at this level with you not taking care of yourself, not addressing your critical needs, right? Not being how what do you think your purpose will do when you are?
Right.
What type of a mark could you leave on other people's lives, and how many people? So I speak from that perspective because it really kind of exponentially increases the magnitude of your region. You have to decide if you want it, because honestly, somewhere subconsciously, we'd be like, yeah, I hear you, and I don't want to. Because what I'm facing right now is hard enough.
It's overwhelming.
And my thought is, just like people who choose to be entrepreneurs and grow a business, their thought in their mind is, I just want a small business. I just want family atmosphere. I don't want what comes with taking it to the next level. So you got to be honest. It's like, this is as far as I want to take it. And if that's the case, that's fine. Then don't beat up on yourself about it. Say, I want to service this many people at this amount of time, and you keep going. But I promise you, it's beautiful, and I say this all the time, it's beautiful and it's radiant. Shout out, I'm 46 years old, okay? As great as this melanin is serving me, my organs are my real age. Your organs are your real age. So it's a lot of sparkle with the melanin, but the more you choose to serve in a manner that's not addressing what you critically need, the more you choose to operate at this high level with a low amount of fuel very little strategy, you are wearing your organs out. Your thyroid, your kidneys, your heart, your lungs. I could go on. They cannot handle what you have chosen to accept as your life right now. And so I just offer those two perspectives. One, that your calling is being limited. Now, I'll tell you, I've been in a self-care cocoon for like a year. I had to make an abrupt shift, and I had to really kind of calm down. I've been working from home for about a year. And I've had to really peel back some heavy emotional layers, right? Divorce and other things, that being exposed to trauma on a regular basis, working with people going through traumatic experiences and not really addressing the fact that it continuously impacted me, case after case after case. And so this past year, you're catching 365 days after I have been working hard, but there was no balance. And I would encourage people not to look for the word balance. I would encourage you to use the word strategy. Because tomorrow, something could knock me on my behind. Something could knock you on your behind tomorrow. And balance will not be there. I promise you.
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
Right. No, you're right.
So having a strategy, having a method, having things in front of you that work for you is really the goal. So don't beat up on yourself, but be honest. If this is what you want, if this is how far you want your mission and your purpose to be expanded to, be at peace with it.
Yeah.
Enjoy yourself and understand that that is all that you have set before you, and the entity, the God, whatever you want to call it, that placed that on you is appreciative, and you are doing what you're supposed to do. And if you want to expand it, then understand it has to be expanded through a body, through organs, through a mentality that is far healthier and better cared for.
Yeah. It's a whole package.
Is that helpful?
Yeah, it's very helpful. Every time I
That was a whole word,
every
and I
time
promise
I
you,
talk to
my mental Rolodex is taking all of that.
I have to.
And to do it alone is unreasonable.
Yes.
There's no way I'm sitting here haven't done anything alone.
I know.
There's no way.
I know.
I've called
Yeah.
you.
No,
I've
same
called
here.
several
I
people,
know.
and I've had to be very honest about what's hard. And that's a part of taking care of yourself, being honest about what you need. But let me tell you, baby.
Once you say it out loud.
Let me tell you what's on the other side of
I'm tickled.
expressing your
I'm
needs.
tickled.
Let me tell you what's on the other side of that.
Ooh.
Bliss.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alignment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree. Yeah.
You're not
when
running for perfection. I always say it's participating in your self-care, not being perfect. Right?
Yeah.
It's participation,
Yeah.
not perfection.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a bliss. And then when you find the courage, look, got me stuttering. Lord have mercy. When you find the courage to be honest and to push through the self-care blocks like embarrassment and fear and shame and worry or false comfort, like this is comforting me. No, it's not.
It's not.
It's not really comforting you, right? When you push through that on the other side, there's a place for you to lay down the things that were never for you to carry in the first place.
Yes.
And everybody's looking like we didn't need you to carry that.
Right.
You can put that down.
Yeah.
And then you've got someone saying, "Do you want me to hold your hand?" Do you want me to hold your hand?
That's awesome.
Right?
That's awesome.
And they end up responding the way you approach people, Idalia. You know how many times I look at Idalia and I'm just like, I want a sparkle session.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up primarily
That's all you
with
have to say.
I'm ready for it. And
I promise that's all you have to say. You know what? I have to agree with you, because in the instances when I have genuinely been able to say, I can't do this by myself. I'm tired, you know, and then you there's a weight lifted, number one, with just being able to say, I'm tired and I don't want to do this by myself. You would be amazed at the people that come running to your aid.
I would not be amazed.
No.
I would not.
No.
I would
think
not.
I was.
Yeah.
And you know why? Because you don't, okay, let me just say, I don't always expect everyone to love my baby in the way that I love it. So when you see people genuinely touched by it, and see that you are open enough to allow them in, and then you just literally are okay to hold your hands open while you receive those blessings. Case in point, the last high tea. So this year we did it virtual.
Yes.
It's an event I throw every year. It's normally in March for Women's History Month. It's a way for us to honor being of royalty, all of us. So last year was the last one that we had in person because of the pandemic. So we did the whole show. The ladies showed out with their beautiful dresses. They had hats. We had women in head wraps. Some women came in actual crowns. Some came in their derby. It was amazing. So my youngest attendee was 3 months old. My oldest was well into her 70s. Wow. It was amazing. Okay, so we had an amazing time. Dinner, drinks, entertainment. We had poets. We had African dance troupe that came out. It was just a really great experience. We have gentlemen in attendance, but they are only in the serving capacity. So you are escorted to your seat by a gentleman in a full suit and white gloves.
Nice.
Oh yes, they serve us dinner. They serve us high tea. It was amazing.
Nice.
Okay, so say all that to say, at the end of the evening, it's always very emotional for me because it's the culmination of a year's worth of planning to get it to a beauty level for these women, because I want them to walk away feeling like, oh my God, I'm still tinkling about what I went through. Yeah. So we got to the end. I tell everyone, thank you. Please hang out and, enjoy each other's company for a while. So we clapped it out, ended the show. At the end, I kind of found myself like at the stage, and there was a line from the stage halfway to the back of the room. And I'm looking at these people like, what are they lining up for? They were lining up to talk about how they could be involved and help out and enjoy the sister circle and be involved with Dignify Diva.
Right.
When I tell you, when I realized why they were in line and that they were just going to patiently wait each sister to talk to me and to hug and to say, oh my God, this was amazing. And I brought my daughter or I brought my mentee, I about lost it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that right there at the end, I said, look, this is a collaborative effort. If you've enjoyed what you've witnessed, please, reach out. I didn't expect for them to do it that day. Yeah. So case in point, people want to be involved. They want to help. You have to be comfortable enough to say, I need your help. And then be comfortable enough to accept it. Because that's an entirely different thing. You can say, yes, I need your help. And then someone comes bearing help and you say, I don't know if I can accept that. You can't do both.
I think for me, self-care is always operating in my strategic self-care plan is a challenge for me every day. I'm inspired when I talk to Anana, and it lasts for about 3 to 5 days, and then realistically it wears off. Yeah. And I have to really think about the fact, and I say it all the time, I'm no good to nobody else if I can't help myself. And I have to always think about what they say when I get on the plane. You have to put the oxygen mask on first before you can help other people. Because oftentimes what we do is very routine. You have it down to a cadence. It's like you could do certain things with your eyes closed and things, and people, the way you do it, I'm like, yeah, that's how I do it. I lay it out or whatever. But I want to get to that next level. Like, I know that the purpose is not just this, but I have to do the next level of work, which is to have a strategic plan, because I do feel burnt out. Yeah. There are Sundays I'm like, I got to do a show today. I do.
Right.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. Truth. Yeah. It's truth. Yeah. So I have to do a show today. I want to stay home. And I got to go, and I rush. And then the show happens, and it's great. I'm like, yay. And I listen to the show myself oftentimes. Every show I do, I listen to it to just make sure I'm good. What I should have said, not said. I should have interject, all that. But I'm like, it is a struggle to take care of yourself.
That's because there's a full menu of needs, right?
Yeah.
And you only had the appetizer and the dessert.
Right.
And so that's why at the end of the day, you still feel hungry. Yeah. Right? You still feel exhausted. Yeah. And so you just have to finish figuring out what menu works for you. And some of it is explorative, It's like you have to start saying, wow, well, what is it? And so week to week, you begin learning more about yourself. Yep. I mean, it's a level of intimacy that is far beyond. It's far beyond, right? When you begin really becoming more intimate with yourself and your body and your thoughts and your mind, and you start to say, man, I didn't know I needed that. Because you start talking to people who are excellent. They're your self-care dream team members. And you schedule, say, once a week, I'm going to talk to someone that knows more than me in this area. And that can be a part of your strategy. Right. And they start saying, well, what about this? That's what I do. Yeah. They're like, oh, yeah. What about this, Anana? Have you thought about it? No, I haven't thought about it. And then I try, and I come back and I say, okay, that didn't work for me. But what did happen this week? Like, for once, I'll give you an example. So I have a counseling session that I do on a regular, right? And my counselor said, hey, I want you to work on grieving some losses you may not have grieved. I'll give you an example. Now, this is something I would never come up with. Ever, right? And this is in the category of spiritual and emotional self-care. But because I have scheduled a weekly session with a person that knows more than me, okay, that I have to humble myself to, that I have to be honest with. They help me pull out what I may need. And because I know my own program, I know that it's a shopping session for which menu item works for me. So I don't feel too attached to the suggestion.
Okay.
I just try it.
Right.
So she said, look what I want you to do, Anana. I want you to, this week, I want you, where do you like to grieve? I was like, what is that? Grieving? Getting negative emotions out? No. So she said to me, she said, well, I want you to think about grieving, because once you get past the grief, you can live differently. I said, okay, lady. Sounds like a great idea to get past grief. So she says, all right. She says, well, when you think about it, where do you cry? And I said, well, I cry in the bed, or I may cry in the shower if I have a moment. She says, okay, well, I want you to plan for a bath. And I want you to just take a bath and cry in a bath. In the back of my head, I was like, same thing. Probably won't do that, right?
Cry in the bath.
Cry in the bath, cry in the shower, right? And so, the high schooler in me was like,
right.
Okay.
I'm not doing that.
So throughout the week, what I did was, I'm just trying to use practical examples, because what we do in SisterCARE Alliance and with the self-care program is you have to be practical so people can relate, right?
Yes.
So that week I said, all right. So I turned on the water and I looked at the tub and I said, I'm supposed to cry in you, right? That was my self-care baby step. I made the effort and I was like, I don't think it's gonna happen. I turned the water off, right? So the next day I turned on the shower and I was like, I think I'm supposed to cry in you. I said it out loud. Nobody else was around. And then I was like, it's not, I don't feel like it, no. So I was watching this, doing my little YouTube surfing one moment when I was having a brain freeze moment. And there was a video of a son and a mother. The mother was in a wheelchair. She was a quadriplegic, and it was the son's wedding. And the wedding song came on for the son and the mother to dance. So he takes her out on the wheelchair and he's moving with the wheelchair. And in the middle of the song, he picks her up out the wheelchair and holds
I'd
her.
have been bawling.
And starts and finishes the entire song. His arms were getting heavy. And he had them move the wheelchair out the way. And her head was the only thing she could move. So she draped it on his shoulder every now and then she picked it up and then she whispered something in his ear. And then he rubbed his head on her. And for the whole song, I
bawling.
So I went back to my session. It's hard to hear, right? I know. So I go back to my session and she's okay, Anana. She's like really excited. How was it? And so I told her what I did. She says, okay, so now we know what doesn't work for you. I said, you know why? Because water makes me feel good.
Okay.
Being in water, so that doesn't work for me. But then I told her about the video. She said, so now we're going to plan a program around you being able to be honest about what you need to grieve, even if movies or these clips have to trigger it.
Okay.
Are you all hearing?
Yeah.
So she imparted wisdom, but I was willing to taste test different menu items that would help me take better care of myself.
Okay.
Taste testing.
But that's the strategy. The strategy wasn't that I came up with everything.
Right.
Are y'all hearing me?
Yeah.
The strategy was that I have self-care dream team members. I have a list of things. What do I need? I have a whole sheet that we have. It's a poster that has all the categories of care. And when I need something, I write it on there because I can't be left up to my own devices to remember it.
Yeah.
So anywho, that is an example of what it means to be strategic and not just rely on yourself, so that you're not eating like a half-baked cookie and calling it self-care.
I want to talk about backlash. We talked about that early in the beginning. Why is it that we have to move in stealth mode or kind of underground in just order to just be? Look at her face.
You want to start with Idalia on that one?
I don't even know if I can answer that one. That's why are we moving in stealth?
Why do some of us have to?
Some of us have to
move,
because of the backlash that we would experience when we try to evolve, right? So that's a whole manipulation and control.
It is, and I think that that's a heavy topic.
They say I ask
Quite
good
honest with
questions.
you.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No,
it's fine.
It's okay. Yeah, no, it's fine. As far as backlash is concerned, I think that the world at large is still afraid of what they perceive as the angry Black woman. So for me, it is, when you assert yourself, when you are providing something that is important for women of color. If you assert yourself too heavily, then it becomes, okay, watch for that one, because there are going to be a bunch that are going to follow her. And then it becomes, okay, I attribute it to the Malcolm X movie. You remember the part in the movie where all he did was raise his hand?
I talked about that
then
yesterday.
He turned
Yep.
And everybody
Wow.
moved, and then they stopped talking, and that is the kind of power that we wield. If I'm being honest, that really is the kind of power. We birth nations, we influence nations, we can start war. There is no limit to the things that we are able to do as women when we put our minds to it, whether on the good side or on the bad side. And I think that people are fearful of that, and so it requires for us to move differently. Oh, I'm so sorry. So what in the world is going on here? Sorry, ladies.
It's okay.
So it requires for us to sometimes move a little bit more stealthily when we're trying to do things. For me, I am more above ground. I'm one of those that I guess they figure as non-threatening. The sparkle and glitter sense to give people a Mary Poppins type vibe, which is fine. But I do definitely understand that power can be used for good or for evil, and you have to be careful on the way that you use it and for whom you use it for. I do definitely believe that there are some women that their strength, it really does scare the powers that be, and they will do anything that they possibly can to try to squash it. So for those women that do have to move underground, yes, it's definitely safer for them, because those are the women that we need as well. We need the Mary Poppins of the world. Sure, that's fine. But we also need, our sisters that are rougher, tougher, speak right in your face with what is needed. We need the Harriet Tubmans. We need those women that are going to make that railroad. Look, this is not going to be easy, but we're going to get there, and you have to be able to maneuver and have people on both sides in order for it to be a collective effort that makes the hit that we needed to make.
Anana, what say you?
Yeah, I'm just going to make sure that I, overstate that nothing Idalia does is Mary Poppins, okay?
Yeah, I don't know where she came with that either.
I understand that the sparkle is this magical experience that allows you to enjoy being what you may consider feeling like a woman, feeling feminine, right? Everybody's definition is different. But there's such a power in that ends up empowering people that say no thank you. I feel better today, no thank you. I don't have to exchange my time for you for toiletries or any critical, no thank you. What did you say? No, I feel a lot more dignified today, and I don't really need to exchange my dignity for what you're offering me today, because I feel stronger. So I just want to make sure that's clear, that there's nothing Mary Poppins about that at all.
I accept that.
Yeah, I accept
that.
I think it helps to correct the DNA damage, that's been done to Black women who've not been allowed to enjoy just feeling good.
Yeah.
And feeling enlightened and sparkly and lovely. There's nothing wrong with that.
Because we want to feel that way.
Well, it's relaxing.
Yeah.
It means that there's a war side of you that doesn't have to be engaged. It's like this savory moment that also is synonymous with safety, because you're not going to sparkle if you don't feel safe.
Right.
And so I would venture to say that you do have a Harriet way about you, because to create a safe space means you have to strong arm quite a bit of people, and you have to be very, very clear about what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And so I just want to say that for the record.
Got her together.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
I will bully you with my sparkle. Yes, you're gonna.
And you're gonna protect the sparkle moment. You're not gonna allow any. You will voraciously make sure that nobody's gonna interrupt or contaminate a moment that a woman. I've seen that look in your eye, boo. Yeah. Okay, we have worked together. So
you're gonna get this sparkle moment and enjoy it.
And nobody's gonna interrupt it. And you're not gonna feel bad about it during.
Absolutely
that's
not.
a part
Do you
of
need
the
two purses.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's a part of the protection that's necessary. And so that leads me to two things that I think are under discussed when you talk about Black women, in particular Black women who have to be underground or kind of stealth-like with their movements. One is the lack of compassion that we receive, the belief that we are like the mules.
Chief.
Right? If you see someone as a mule, then you will never have immediate compassion. And so your decision to get back at, to quote unquote educate, your decision to get in line, even your decision to participate becomes more aggressive because you see them as mule-like. You see them as a rough-edged sword, even though we are curved to the gods. Even though when our skin is moisturized with shea butter, it looks like you can sink into it. Even though all of that exists, even though our hair, your fingers could get lost in our hair and come back smelling wonderful. Even though all of that exists, there are those who see us in a mule-like fashion with a tough, rough exterior, with hooves that could stomp on their ego or their dreams or whatever, right? There are people who, just to engage with us, they choose to be more aggressive.
Right.
So for the lack of compassion by itself that exists when people engage with us, that is enough for you to say, you know what, you're not going to deal with me in a way that you're reminded that I'm not just a human being, but I deserve some softness in the way you tone your voice. So we get used to saying, who are you talking to? I'm sorry.
Right.
What, can you fix your tone? Like we have standard phrases to correct people's way that they engage with us because they're so used to engaging with us with the lack of compassion. So that's one. Nobody wants to deal with that. The emotional damage that's done is never seen when you're coming at a Black woman with the lack of compassion. So much so that she prepares to not receive it. Right? So for that alone, it's a reason to not let anybody know that you're doing something that tugs on your heart, that is a part of your soft, gooey center that makes you feel like you're serving other sisters, that makes you feel like you're serving yourself. Why? Why expose somebody with no compassion to that?
Right.
Okay. The second thing is, to Idalia's point, the power in aligning means that when you show up, you're not alone. And so it's terrifying for someone. I get phone calls as a representative of SisterCARE Alliance. So when people talk to me, they feel like they're talking to several Black women all at once. That's why I encourage Black women to join organizations. Everyone should feel that way. In general, you should feel like you're talking to my dad, my brother. Shout out to Sekou, shout out to Herja Harris, right? You should feel like if you say something funny to me, that you're talking to them too. But that's unfortunately not the case. And it's not the case in a lot of places. So for those, I could list many other reasons why it's dangerous, how it affects our job, how people try to do PR lynchings, right, with Black women, how people want us to be put in a box such that we can't rise to be able to make the changes we would like to. All of that matters, but that lack of compassion and the vision that we could be connected to others that may show up when you do something wrong, because that's what happens with SisterCARE Alliance. If we find out that you've been grossly negligent and done something wrong to one of our members, we all do show up. It's warranted. Like whatever they're concerned about, they should be, because we don't allow things to go unnoticed. We don't not discuss it. We know how to have truth and reconciliation commissions for one person if we have to. And all Black women should have that. So I like to make sure that the sisters who want to stay underground can stay that soft nugget center that they want to protect. They deserve to be able to protect it. And those who are like, oh, my soft nugget center is well protected and I'm about to be in your face today, they too are a part of the organization.
They are protected,
Right, so that's why we have the two. Is that helpful?
That's helpful.
Okay.
A lot of us, this is uncharted territory, right? Because I don't come from a bloodline of entrepreneurs. I don't come from a bloodline of people that are community centered. It was hardworking people,
Yeah.
family people, but not so much of, well, let me extend past the immediate family.
Yeah.
So what I do is extend to people I don't know. You know, what we do, we extend to strangers. It doesn't matter. We don't need to know you. If I don't know you, that's fine. If there's a need, come to me and let's see how we can work this need, right? So it's uncharted territories for some of us.
Well, you know, it might be uncharted to you, but because of trauma, we tend to not retell stories from generations past. Right? So
Right.
you probably are carrying on a really powerful lineage, but because some of our stories are intertwined with such trauma, we don't get to hear about what great and great great and all of our ancestors did.
So I've been fortunate enough to hear some of the stories that are from my lineage.
Tell it.
Oh, okay. So I'm a little bit of a gypsy. I've been a little bit everywhere. So my mother is from St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. So I'm West Indian on one side. My father is from Ghana, and I was born in Liberia.
Wow.
So I'm of the Kru tribe. And the story that my father told me as a child was that during the time frame when I was born, first of all, I was the first baby girl born in the village. So that already gave me a swings hair over eye type.
Swing and move.
So there was that. I was also the firstborn of the children. So there's that. But there's some royalty back in the line that I'm from. And when my dad was telling us this story, he told it to us, I was probably about 6 or 7, and he told it a few more times as we got older, age appropriate, obviously. But apparently, while we were in Liberia, there was some time where they were killing off families that could potentially ascend to the throne. That was never going to happen in my lifetime. But there were more radical groups that were killing off whole families in order to ensure that you're not going to sit on this throne. So in an attempt to make sure that we were safe, my dad and mom moved us to Illinois, where I grew up. So I was raised with you are of royal lineage. You are a princess. I'm going to raise you as such. You are to be treated as such. Don't you ever forget who you are.
Okay.
It was very Mufasa-like in nature. Remember who you are. Now, as a young woman, you know, my father made it a point to every day tell us, you're beautiful, you're intelligent. So I never needed to hear that when I went out into the street. It alleviated me dealing with, as my mom would call them, pissy tail little boys.
Ooh, that's
so
popular.
Yes, so I got that positive reinforcement, so it allowed for me to flourish in some other ways. They were extremely heavy in the religious organization that I grew up in. So I have a very solid foundation of support, of belief in a higher power, of making sure that your heart is shown and given to other people. So I have that as a base. Now, as an adult, you kind of veer off a little bit from what you're raised with. But you never quite forget it. So there's always that thing in the back of your head telling you, Idalia, okay, you know better, you should be treated as better, whatnot. So you get away from it because you're a young adult and you want to try stuff, and mom and dad couldn't possibly know what they're talking about. So you're raised with this beautiful thing, and then you get away from it, and then you have to kind of circle back to it. So with Dignify a Diva, it took a very long time for me to figure out a way to make this purpose that I knew I had work for me, because I knew it wasn't going to look exactly the way that I was raised with, but I knew that I couldn't get too far away from it without doing something. And it took up to 40 for me, because I'm 45 now. So it took up to year 40 for me to say, oh,
right,
yeah,
that's how it's supposed to look. And now I can start to build on who I can support and how does that look. So where does it start? Right here in my general community. What am I noticing? Okay, this person needs this, and okay, she needs that, but she doesn't want to say it. All right, so I'm gonna just slip her that. And then as you're slipping folks stuff and they're kind of looking at you like, how did you know that? You start to build a bit of a community of people that are feeling safe. Because
Come on,
that
Idalia.
person They do, because that person then goes and tells someone else, yo, Idalia just did, and I haven't heard anything else about it. Or, did you know that she did X, Y, Z? And then the word starts to get out, and then people start to come just a little bit at a time,
right?
But they start to come a little bit more, just a little bit more. And then as the word gets out, you're able to support more people. This is a very word of mouth type of effort, you know, but you get it from that foundation. So yes, my parents made it a point to make sure that I had a very, very solid foundation. I love them for that. You know, they definitely made sure that my brothers and sisters and I knew, look, this is what's expected. We're going to support some people. It's not always going to be in the best circumstances. You're probably going to see some things that you're scared to see.
Yeah.
But guess what? This could be us.
Okay. Yeah.
You're going to be okay. This could be us. And the whole point is, you have to step outside of yourself in order to be able to be a support to other people.
True. That is true. Let me ask you this. Are we ready to, and I'm just being funny because I already know the answer, but are we ready to take our businesses to the next level? Because now people realize that Black lives do matter, right? So now is money going to come to support some of these underground or grassroots type businesses, nonprofits, everything that we've been doing, robbing Peter to pay Paul, maybe get a little funding here and there? Are we in a space now that the opportunities are going to start to come? What say you? Who wants to take it first? She's sucking. Look at you being a high schooler. Go ahead, Idalia. What about you? Come on. Is the money?
I feel a little differently about that.
How do you feel? Talk to us.
So I feel like we're trending.
Yes, I do.
And I think that there are going to be some opportunities for a little while, but I think at some point we're going to stop trending.
Okay.
I think that it's get it while you can. It's going to be here for a little bit, but I don't think that it's going to last very long. I think that the powers that be will support it as long as it's popular. And don't get me wrong, there will be some of those that support because they know it's the right thing to do. And they have genuinely seen a change in their dynamic, and they understand it differently. So I'll definitely give you that. But I think that it is important for us to make sure that we support each other. Yes. Because more of the change and our growth to the next level is going to come from our collaborations with each other. That's what's going to mobilize us and grow us and get us to the next level. I'm big on collaboration over competition. There's enough here for us to be able to move together. Yes, we are. One of us may be the one that is able to get that large hit, but I think it's going to be that person that then mobilizes the rest of us. There's going to be a few to get those large hits, and then we'll be able to mobilize the rest. We have to support our grassroots organizations if we expect to
make it. Yeah. Anana, I saw your leg shaking under the table. She couldn't wait to answer this one. She was over here like,
I like not going first. I like not going first because it helps me. It helps me so much.
That leg was shaking like,
woo. No, I mean, I agree. I think there's always a trend, you know, especially when you're working in community-focused work.
Yes.
You know, when the Harriet movie came out, everybody loved Harriet Tubman. Oh my God, Harriet Tubman. I didn't know this about her, right?
Right.
I mean, I could go on. I can date back, you know, every time there's a shooting, you know, there's a trend. Every time there's something going on globally, there's a trend. So, I mean, part of it is human nature, right? Part of it is just how we operate, you know, and then part of it is also out of sight, out of mind. You know, for some people, if it's not in your face, then it's hard for them to see. But I do think that one of the most important things that are being offered is intellectual capital. Right? I think being empowered with the ability to understand how to grow your business, how to put yourself in proximity to people that can help guide you in areas that you don't know how to do, how to be honest about what you are doing as a leader that's keeping your business from growing or keeping your organization from growing. I really think that intellectual capital is so valuable right now. And we're realizing it in isolation, right?
Yeah.
We're sitting here by ourselves like, well, wait a minute. We all are experiencing a similar, some more extreme and severe than others, but we're all experiencing this pandemic. We're all experiencing, stay at home. We're all experiencing quarantine lifestyle to some degree. Some of us are not experiencing it. Some people are, anywho. So if that's the case, and so many people all at the same time are having to change their entire business models.
Yes.
Right? So many people all at the same time are at the beginning of a race and saying, all right, how am I going to pivot? How am I going to shift? What do I need to learn to keep me bringing in revenue? How can I continue my organization? If everybody is having to do that, the ones who are interested in increasing their intellectual capital, their ability to understand and know what to do next, those are going to be the people that move. And it was the same before the pandemic.
True.
Right.
Before the pandemic, those who were willing to say, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that, I need to learn it, I need to be around people, I need to, there are people who join organizations because they strategically know that if they're not physically a part of an organization that's constantly talking about either entrepreneurship or business development or personal development or emotional care, whatever it is, if you're not a part of something that has a regular cadence, right, of addressing it and all kinds of opportunities to learn, then they know for a fact they will not grow. Their business will not grow. They will not make more money. And those people that address what they critically need and then move on it are people who are constantly sharpening their intellectual capital, and everything else follows. Everything else follows. Resources, connections, everything else follows when you decide, you know what, I need this to become more lucrative.
Yes.
How I make, the reason that I can sit down and speak and do things in my area is because I've been developing this intellectual capital for years. And I can do it. I can, Bison. I can, with my eyes closed, do certain, literally, with my eyes closed, do certain things. And what's easy for you is not always easy for someone else, and that's the type of service that you want to provide. Right? Whether logistically it's easy for you to facilitate it and you've worked it out, financially you have the resources, or you have the connections. So I just would encourage people that no matter what you hear in terms of who's going to fund what or where the money is or isn't, I would just encourage you to really focus on building up your intellectual capital, because what comes after that is a bunch of open doors. My son,
alliances are important.
Alliances are definitely important. And learning. Learn. Like, what do you want to learn? Like, what is blocking you emotionally, spiritually? What is blocking you intellectually? What is blocking you economically? What's blocking you educationally? What is stopping that process? My son, we were watching, we have these educational moments, and we were watching the show. Oh man, it's a big problem that I'm not remembering the brother's name, and I'm really gonna be shamed in the Black academic community for not saying his name, but just bear with me. There's the brother that has the show where he traces your lineage. Gates.
Yeah.
Okay, Lord have mercy. So we're watching it, and
Henry Louis Gates.
So he ends up talking through the process of finding out what someone, what their lineage is. And he was telling a story. I can't remember who it was. I don't remember. It was a rapper, I think. It was a brother. And so it was said that one of his third great ancestors learned to read and was able to read a contract and was able to acquire land at a time where Black folks didn't acquire land. And so my son is watching it, and he's like, yeah. I said, but what if I told you, because you're not practicing your reading this summer, now that we're about to shout out to homeschooling. Right. Did I say that in excited tone?
Yeah. I feel the same.
God bless all the parents with kids in school.
That would be us. This whole table right here.
Yeah. They'll be home. No, mine's going to be home. Mine's not going to.
Let me know when you need a sparkle session. I'll bring wine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think all parents that will be homeschooling for the first time need a sparkle session. But so I sat there and I said, what if I told you, if you can't read this, then I want you to wash all the dishes for the rest of the year in the house, simply because you can't read this. And he said, oh, no, I'm going to have to read it. I said, no, but you don't know how. You don't know how to read. And he said, well, then how can I get out of doing something I don't want to do? I said, exactly. So there's so many of us that have organizations, that have businesses, that have things that we want to do in life, but we can't read. Right? So you will be stuck grinding. Oh, it's just so hard. I've got to work this job and do my dream. I've got to do this and do that. And you will burn yourself out simply because you don't want to sit down and learn how to read, or learn how to do what leaders do who are actually finding the capital. So I just wanted to like run that down in the dirt enough to say intellectual capital, I think, is one of the most important things in working on your mindset. That is very valuable to those who are looking for this new trend of money, whether it stops trending or not.
Idalia, where do you see your business? Where do you see Dignify Diva? What do you want for it in the future?
Dignify Diva will have a building at some point. I really want to turn it into a holistic building that allows for women that have survived different types of traumas to come for an extended stay. So depending on the circumstance would determine how long the stay is, but then it is a rebuilding of your dignity in totality. So there will be those women that are escaping abusive type relationships where they are needing extended stays, they need job placement, they need home placement, they need counseling, they need it all in order to rebuild their lives. So there will be a part of this living situation that will be specifically geared towards them. Then there will be a respite type situation, just a weekend type getaway for women that are just dealing with, well, not, let me take that back, not just, because none of it is just, dealing with a different type of a trauma, whether that is illness for themselves or for someone that they love, depression. You know, I'm a youth and I'm being bullied. You know, there will be a different type of a program for them where they can come and get different types of support. So whether that is counseling and how do I deal with, you know, what I'm having to go through on a regular basis, but it would literally be a home where someone can come and get whatever they need. So that's my ultimate goal. That's down a ways, but that's what I envision, that Dignify a Diva will be not a house, but a home where women and girls can come and start to rebuild their dignity and their love for themselves, and then walk out of that home feeling empowered to take on the world in whatever way they need to.
I want to correct you. It shouldn't be down the ways.
I know. I was like, oh, that's going to be soon.
That's going to be sooner than later. That, like, don't be afraid of it. It's
Leave
like
the door
closer
open,
than
girl.
it's
Crack that door open.
closer than you think. Anana, what do you see? What do you want for your business, your brand, and for your community?
For all of them, we'd be here for a while. But I'll say for SisterCARE Alliance.
Twinkle in her eyes. That's the question. I love you. I love you. Go.
Well, for SisterCARE Alliance in particular, because we believe that self-care is a form of social justice and social justice is a form of self-care, I really am excited about the growth of the organization by chapters, right? And continuing to establish formal chapters where more get to learn the strategic self-care program, where it's easier to learn. And so where there's online-based systems and there's actually an institute where sisters can go and just be surrounded by opportunities to learn and practice and test out ways that they can not only take better care of themselves, but ways they can better align so that they're not doing things alone. And so there are practical steps that I see being made, but in general, I really want more chapters. Like our Charlotte chapter is being run by Jasmine Hines, and she launched a whole initiative called Amplify Activate. It's powerful. They're up there decolonizing yoga. That's what they say. Oh, they gangster. And see, that's the thing with SisterCARE Alliance. There are people who are gangster before they even found out about a strategic self-care program. Like, you already come to the table powerful, right? We just want to make sure that people like Jasmine can continue to take excellent care of herself, and then that framework be taught. And so that's what they're doing. She's been teaching and hosting strategic self-care support groups. She's been offering strategic self-care courses. We have a partnership with the Women of Color Institute where free strategic self-care courses have been hosted on Tuesdays. We have a social justice matters and self-care for Black girls, an online training that we've been hosting.
I love
this
it.
one coming up. We have Miss Rita Daniels, who's a descendant of Harriet Tubman and runs the Harriet Tubman Learning Center out here in Georgia. She's going to speak with attorney Tatiana Lima and attorney Candace McKinley. So our network is continuing to grow, and I just want to train as many people as possible so that they can go out, structure their own strategic self-care, and teach others. So it's like it's out of my hands at this point. You know, I realized by year 4, the more that you teach, there's a sister, CJ, Madam CJ, who is killing the game. She was just certified to offer strategic self-care consultations. And she is not playing. She's blowing up the spot. She works with sisters through the strategic self-care program with taking care of their wombs and fibroids. And so I want to just continue growing that way. She's phenomenal. So she's certified and ready to go with taking clients who want to learn this program. So that's what I want to do. There's so many phenomenal, powerful sisters out there that already have a calling. They already have a purpose. It has nothing to do with me. I want to strengthen them and support them in a way that they know how to take care of themselves, and that they can teach the framework to others and keep freeing more Black women, so you don't feel chained to this sacrificial, beat yourself up life. That you can kind of strategically welcome some
sparkle.
You can say what you need.
You can, and you can have it.
You can, because it is a need. And when you get it, you end up sparkling more.
I'm tickled. I'm tickled.
You sparkle more, and you share more love, and you can grow your business more.
I'm telling you, it's a phenomenon. This sparkle situation is no joke. When you feel it and you can to the rest of the world.
I need some sparkle. I need some self-care.
People need it. They need it.
They do. They do, and they don't think they do. It's funny when you look at glitter, because people laugh at me all the time about this sparkle thing, and they're constantly saying, this is the silliest stuff I've ever heard. And I said, okay, let me explain something to you. Get some glitter on your skin and try to get it off. You notice how it's almost impossible.
It is hard to get it off.
Glitter.
Okay, so when you're looking at it, you're laughing about the moment when you got it because you remember that it was something fun and light and it made you laugh, and it was probably one of your homegirls that had something glittery on or whatever. There's a lightness, there's a fun attached to it, and that's what sparkle and glitter means to me. You know, you're not going to be able to get rid of me. So let's just say that.
My counselor, I feel like she's Mama Afia Matamoyo. And she spreads glitter in every call. And even in the beginning, because I had a tough time, my son was hit by a car in April. And it really kind of bottomed me out. I was like COVID and work and all that. I mean, I was
a lot.
On the outside, I was still functioning, right? On the inside, I was deteriorating because of that straw. And so I said, I'm going to need some counseling. Like enough is enough. So I started working with her, and you know, there are times when you're going through things internally, and I know there's some sisters out there that can relate to this. There are times when you go through things internally, and just someone cracking a smile at you could aggravate you. Just like, you know, I'm really not feeling sparkly right now. I don't want to talk about how great things are. And so my first few sessions with her, she's like, she is just, I mean, she wouldn't label it sparkles, but that's what it is, right?
But that's what it is.
So you get hey, Anana, you know, and she just got this beautiful smile, and she's like, Anana. And on the inside, I'm like, what do I need to say to be honest and finish the session so that I can get whatever I'm supposed to get out of it? But then by the end, the glitter got stuck on me. Like her glitter got stuck on me, and I leave the session like, all right. And now I'm like weeks later, like I've been going weeks now. I'm just glittering all over the place.
Yeah, I see you.
You see me?
It's infectious.
I see.
It's
I
infectious.
know, but you have to allow yourself to be around those who are willing to not judge you for not feeling sparkly. They're willing to sit with you and say it's fine, boo, and we're gonna still want more for you. We're still gonna want your insides to be warmer and cozier.
And it's not always going to be, you know, as much as I spew out a lot of sparkle, I understand that everyone isn't necessarily ready for it in the way that I give it. That's not going to stop me from giving it to you. And I don't feel any type of way when you don't accept it in that way. That's fine. Because guess what? My skin is tough enough that when you are ready for this sparkle, because at some point you will be, it'll still be here. And I'm not going to love you any less than I did the moment I get you the first time.
That's how I feel too. You know, when I walk in the room, people are like, the self-care lady. Here she comes. I get all the shade. They're like, no, don't invite her to the meeting. No, we can't do the self-care lady because she going to start talking about that and I can't do it. It happens all the time and it's okay. It's okay. Because eventually some, not all, you know, some people are fine, right? But the ones who are not fine, life will beat your behind. I almost cussed, and I did not.
You did.
Life can wake up and beat your behind, and on those days I get late night phone calls, and they say, "Look, I don't know what you're doing, but I just have a question." And 2 hours later, because I don't mind, because it's not what you say, it's when you say it.
When you say it,
You agree, Idalia?
Yep,
like it's not. That's why I don't run around jamming this down anybody's throat. Right. Because my phone doesn't stop ringing. It doesn't stop ringing because at some point you've heard me say you can do it. You need a strategy, and I'm super confident in working with you to get it. And then somebody calls. And someone says, all right, I'm ready, because life just put its foot in my back. And whatever strategies I had before, they're not working anymore. Everything I'm pulling from the people that I call, the posts that I put up, I'm putting up posts now and I'm not getting the same responses. I just don't, the foods that I'm eating are not making me feel any better. I can't get my hair done, or I can't go swimming, or it's COVID. Like, people are running out of options. And at some point, you have to get super serious about being strategic about not dying. Not dying spiritually, not dying emotionally, not dying physically, artistically. Like, you have to choose to not die one day. And when that day comes, you call Idalia for some sparkle. You call me. You call Real Chicks Rock and say, hey, you got the connection to so many things, and you reach out and ask for help. I would prefer you not wait for rock bottom.
Me too.
That's what strategic self-care is. Is you're putting these strategies in place so that you don't have to hit rock bottom. Right? Now, you might come close and be like, all right, I finally addressed this issue. But I don't want you to reach rock bottom.
No, don't wait till you're at the end. And you know, it all boils down to there's no judgment. You know, even if you do hit that rock bottom, okay, that's what you had to do. My hard head makes a soft butt. Mine is super soft.
Oh, welcome.
So I understand.
Welcome.
No,
it is super cushy around here.
All the time.
You know,
all the time.
We've all made some decisions that didn't make sense.
And talk about the no judgment real quick.
There's no judgment. There really is. There's no judgment at all.
What does that mean? Because I have people come to me with horrific scenarios, and I have my own horrific scenarios. But can you describe what does no judgment mean? Because I don't think people understand.
You can come to me with whatever horrific, horrible, oh my God situation, and you're going to get, how many purses do you need? What do you need in those purses? How much sparkle do you need me to dump in that baggie for you to take with you? That's what you're going to get every single time. I have done enough in my own life that I am not about to judge anything that you've been.
Preach.
I know
that's
that's
not
right.
my place.
That's
not my place.
Talk about
How
it.
can I help you get to whatever your next stage is? If I'm giving you clutches pearls.
Can't do that.
That's not helpful.
No.
And that's the whole reason that we don't talk to each other. Women are horrible to each other sometimes. We don't talk to each other because we're afraid of oh my God, how is she going to look at me? Who is she going to tell after I talk to her about it? And is she going to tell me no? Those three things alone will stop you every single time. So if you know off rip that anytime you come to Dignify a Diva, it's a safe space and we're not going to judge anything, and I'm going to hug you first regardless of what you say, and then we're going to move on from there, it takes the edge off of, okay, I really messed up. Okay, we've all really messed up at one point or another. And none of us are above messing up at some point and needing someone to say, girl, I got you. And if I don't know what to do, I'll figure out somebody that does. If I can't do it, I'll at least help to make the bridge. If I can't help you, guess what? I know Sister Alliance can. I knew they can. If she has something, then maybe she'll pass her on to Real Chicks Rock. That's that collaboration over competition. There's bridges. And there's no judgment for these bridges. You can get the help you need.
I think social media has made the no judgment thing harder. I think it's made it harder for people to believe that there's no judgment, you know.
It really has.
The layers. Just the layers, how things are piled on. I think it makes it hard for them. But no judgment is literally the core of being able to really be a servant. You know?
Right.
To serve someone.
You have to be able to stop that. You have to. You know, there's no way for you to be able to support the people that you need to support if they feel that judgment off you. And be very clear, people feel judgment immediately when they know it's there. There's no getting around it.
They do. And there's no, I'm about to go, as soon as I'm done with you, pretending like I'm not judging you. I'm going to go get on the phone and be like, can you believe? Nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing that, especially when you pick people of integrity and organizations that maintain a culture of integrity.
That's the key.
When you pick, and you might get a limit. You know, I've gone to a counselor before that has said some really twisted things, but I understood that you have to date before you get married. Come on, team. You got to date before you get married. You have to date scenarios, organizations, and individuals. And that no judgment is a requirement.
It is.
And I do hate that some community organizations don't have the culture of no judgment and they don't interact in that way, but there are some that do.
We really do.
We absolutely do.
And
that's
ladies,
the only way this works for me anyway.
This is unfortunately it's my time.
Well, I think it is fortunate because now you get to go practice some self-care because I was listening to you and I'm going to give you an assignment, ma'am, and anybody else listening, this is your strategic self-care assignment. I'm going to say the categories of care, and whichever one of those categories make your stomach tighten just a little bit quietly, like, oh, I don't want to deal with that. That is the category that you start with and you address a critical need.
Come on, sis.
Spiritual, emotional.
I'm good.
Economic, time, money, and energy. Artistic, how you creatively express and address what you need. Physical, that's your body, your organs, but also your environment. Everything that has to do with your physical presence. Educational, what do you need to learn? And then social, who do you need to interact with virtually or not to address what you critically need? If you don't have to say it out loud, but if there's a category that I just named, spiritual, emotional, economic, artistic, physical, educational, social, if there's a category that makes your stomach tighten when you hear it, your body responds, even just a little bit, I want you to ask yourself, what do I critically need? And then begin taking baby steps towards addressing the need.
Okay. Oh, yes. And I'll call you in the morning.
I want to hear from both of you. Both of y'all have my numbers.
I'll call her in the morning and tell her, Lord, I have to do it because I'm going to hit this wall if I don't. I am
I'm excited. I want to hear.
I'm self-destructing and I need some sparkle time. How can people find you, Idalia? How can people reach out to you?
So you can, I'm on the web, there's a website, so www.dignifydiva.org. I am on social media, Instagram and Facebook as Dignify a Diva. On Instagram, it's Dignify a Diva _official. On Facebook, it is Dignify a Diva. Twitter, I'm on Dignify a Diva as well. And to be honest with you, if you have me on any of the social media platforms, you can DM me still.
Okay, fair enough.
So I'm available in any of those ways.
Good. Anana, how can people find you?
Well, I am a team.
Yes, you are.
You can
Yes,
find
you are.
us at SisterCAREalliance.org or on Instagram at SisterCARE Alliance.
Website?
SisterCAREalliance.org. Yep.
Thank you. Thanks, ladies. Thank you so much. I wish you were
this
here.
Was such good
I know,
This
but
was
I'm sending
social
you big
self-care.
virtual
This
hugs.
is emotional self-care.
good.
This was great.
This was.
It was.
You know,
Let's do it again.
Sometimes
We have
I get
to.
guests in here to help me.
Yeah, we should take questions. That would be great. Have people call in.
Next time we'll do
Oh,
questions.
I would love to do that.
Is that well? You
Yeah.
have to bring your brown self in here.
I promise you, and not only will I bring my brown self, I'll bring my bag of glitter.
There you go.
I want
Look
some.
how she's doing her thing. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my time. Thanks so much for hanging out with us this afternoon. I'm Real Chicks Rock. You know, you can find me everywhere. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, I'm on Facebook, and we have the website, and we're selling masks, and we're doing t-shirts, and we got
Support
things
them.
going on. Yeah, support black businesses, man. Come on, yo. Do that. It's the best thing you can ever do. So until next time, you guys continue to be well, take care, and rock on. Bye.
Mwah.
Mwah.